Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus Brady, your host. And for this video, it is going to be a preview of round 2 of the Allianz Hurling League action in 2023 in Division 1. There are 6 more games to get into, a full preview here on Play on GAA with me, your host. Before we get into it, please like, subscribe, share and comment. All that stuff really helps us out. And let's crack on with these videos. The first round was beautiful. I mean, in terms of the games, Limerick Cork was a cracker. Wexford Galway was brilliant. Dublin Waterford was a back and forth affair as well. And we saw some new eras like Tipperary under Liam Cahill, Kilkenny under Derek Ling, and obviously Pat Ryan winning his first game as Cork boss over the All-Ireland champions. But what will round 2 bring? Let's dive into these games. I'm going to go in order of when the first game is played, straight through to last game that is going to be played on Sunday. Starting with the first one played on Saturday at 5 p.m. Laois versus Waterford in O'Moore Park, Portlaoise. So obviously, Laois, off the back of the post-Cheddar Plunkett era, the first game they go away to Tipperary and they get beaten by 232 to 18 points. Just an awful start to this era. Waterford on the flip side, obviously Davy Fitzgerald, his second coming. They have Dublin at home and they raced into a lead. Like, I have to say, watching that game as a Dublin fan, I was thinking, we're about to get blown away here. We were 1-4 to no score down at one stage very early on. We couldn't get on the ball. Waterford were just dominating and they looked like they were going to cruise home, and then Dublin turned the screw on them. Keane O'Sullivan, brilliant 2 goals in the first half, particularly the second one. And Waterford looked vulnerable at the back. Laois, on the other hand, coming into this game, even though it's in O'Moore Park, Portlaoise, I don't see any way that Laois win this game. I think Waterford are going to be frustrated at the fact that they didn't get the job done in Fraherfield, and I'm going to go with them to get the job done in this one. Saturday night ends with a banger. Limerick against Clare at the Gaelic grounds, throwing in at 7 p.m. I mean, we all remember what happened between Limerick and Clare last year, producing 2 unbelievable games, particularly the Munster final. You think about Garrod Hegarty's goal. You think about Tony Kelly's sideline. I didn't think Clare were as good as they were last year. I have to say, going into it, I was blown away by how competitive they were with Limerick, because this Limerick team is so good. And then the fact is that those games show just how good this Limerick team is, because how good Clare had to be just to draw with them. How good they had to be. Everyone on that Clare team played as good a game as I've ever seen them play. John Conlon at centre-back, Peter Duggan, Tony Kelly, David Fitzgerald, Shane O'Donnell. They all played as good a game as I've ever seen them play. And they still didn't beat Limerick. Like, Limerick is that good in Championship. However, this is the league, and it's well documented that over the last few years, Limerick are susceptible to being beaten in the league and have already lost in the opening round to Cork. That being said, in the first half against Cork, they were fantastic. Rod Hegarty was unplayable. Colin Coughlin, I thought, a wing-back, looked fantastic. Declan Hannon had to go off, but he was very good up until that point. Against Clare at the Gaelic ground, such a hard one to tell. Clare started off the league by blowing away Westmeath in Cusack Park and Ennis. No one really surprised by that. It's a really, really hard one to call, because in my opinion, it's if one team here takes it more seriously than the other one, that team will win. If Limerick take this seriously, they win. If Clare take this seriously and Limerick don't, Clare win. I'm going to go with Limerick to win this one. I just think they wanted to win the Cork one, and I think it will bother them that they didn't. So I'm just going to go with Limerick just to pick up a bit of a victory here against Clare at the Gaelic grounds. But I wouldn't be surprised if Clare beat them because of how tight the games were last year. And if Limerick take their eye off the ball one bit, they will lose this game. The next one then, Sunday at 1:30 p.m, Kilkenny against Tipperary at Nolan Park in Kilkenny. Now, as I mentioned when I was talking about the new eras that have begun in hurling in 2023, these are the 2 that I'm probably most interested in. Liam Cahill with Tipperary, given the fiasco around his appointment and how he consistently said that he wasn't going to go there, and then he did. The way that Colin Bonner was, gotten rid of, very disrespectful. And then to bring in Cahill, that will rile up Waterford. Kilkenny on the flip side, obviously, they've just lost the best manager that GAA has ever seen in Brian Cody. Derek Ling, first game in the hot seat, up to Corrigan Park in Belfast. Very, very difficult place to go. And they came out with the points, 118 to 15 points. They beat Antrim by. Tipperary, as I mentioned at the start, blew Laois away, 232 to 18 points. Straight away, though, Cahill has gone with some interesting positional switches. Michael Breen to full-back, Seamus Kennedy to wing forward, Patrick Bonner-Marr to full forward. Very interesting. And it will be interesting to see when players, the likes of Jason Ford, start coming back into the team. Where are they going to go? Where is he going to put them? I'm very interested to see the likes of Gerald O'Donovan and Conor Stakelum. They look very impressive in the first game against Laois. Will they continue that form against Kilkenny? For Kilkenny, Pádraig Walsh straight back into centre half back, having played last year in the forwards. And on top of that, Billy Drennan, very, very good performance, scoring 1-8. And he was the separator between Kilkenny and Antrim in this game. Who do I think is going to win this one? Again, just like Limerick and Clare, it's so hard to tell. It would be a really hard one to call in Championship when they're both at full strength, but it's going to be even harder to call in the league. I'm going to go with a draw here. I really am. I think they're going to... It's definitely not going to be by more than 3 points. They're going to be neck and neck, and I'm just going to go with a draw. I'm sitting right on the fence for this one. I think either side can win it, and I'm going to go with a draw from this game. The next one then in Pearse Stadium, Sunday at 2 o'clock, Galway against Cork at Pearse Stadium. Now, these are two teams that made a brilliant start to their Division 1 campaign in 2023. As I mentioned, Cork beating Limerick, that late point. Great start for Pat Ryan. Galway going away to Wexford Park, doubled up as a Walsh Cup final. They also win that piece of silverware and beat Wexford in a very impressive performance. And new players stood up, the likes of Sean Lalane, the likes of the Ronan Glennon, the likes of the likes of Gerald McInerney, even off a chip off the old block, hugely impressive there. Darren Morrissey as well, a cornerback, is just going from strength to strength. And then in the forwards, Evan Nyland and Donal O'Shea, this new breed of Galway is coming through, and they got a great victory against Wexford. Cork, as I mentioned, going behind by such a margin to Limerick in the first half, and then they really turned it around in the second half and then got the victory. The 2 goals from Robbie O'Flynn and Declan Dalton. Obviously, Robbie O'Flynn is injured now. Hopefully, best wishes that he comes back sooner rather than later. I'm just going to go with Galway to win this one. The fact it's in Pearse Stadium. Galway beat Cork as well last year in the All-Ireland quarter-final away in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, in a game that a lot of people, including myself, thought Cork were going to win. So I just think there is probably an argument that Galway just a little bit more ready for this game. And I'm just going to go with them to get the victory. But again, it's so evenly matched. Cork could win this game easily as well. Then at the same time, at 2 o'clock on the Sunday, Westmeath against Wexford in Cusack Park. And before you write this one off as being, well, Wexford will win this one, Westmeath drew at Wexford last year in the Championship. So it wasn't like a league slip-up by Wexford. They slipped up in the Championship, and Westmeath were there and punished them for it. The likes of Killian Doyle, Niall O'Brien, the likes of Tommy Doyle. These are serious hurlers that Westmeath have, and they're going from strength to strength. Look, off day for them in the first day against Clare. I don't think they played anywhere near the level that they're capable of as well. They didn't have a purple patch at all, really, and they usually do. This one against Wexford in Cusack Park, it's a banana skin for Wexford. If they don't take this seriously, they could get caught. And they have had a habit over the last 2 years of playing to the level of the team that they're playing against. They rarely blow a team away. Like it was very Wexford last year to draw with Westmeath and then go and beat Kilkenny and Nolan Park to save their season. Like that's a very Wexford thing to do over the last 2 years, is to be inconsistent. Darragh Egan has to make a point of it, that they have to be consistent this year and bounce back from the loss to Galway. And I am going to go with them to get the points here against Westmeath and Cusack Park. I am going to go with them to get the win, but they should not take Westmeath lightly. The last game then at 3 o'clock on the Sunday, 3:30 p.m. on the Sunday, Dublin against Antrim in Parnell Park. Now, these two sides have been rivals for the last few years. Dublin obviously getting a few scares here and there, but we have consistently managed to find a result against Antrim, and I'm going to go with us to do the same again. I really liked our performance against Galway. I thought we looked sharp. I thought we looked driven. No, our performance against Waterford, sorry. I don't know what I'm saying. Our performance against Waterford, we looked driven, we looked determined, and we looked creative, and we looked dangerous going forward, which is not something that Dublin have always looked over the last 2 years. The inside two of Keane O'Sullivan and Alex Considine, I really, really liked that, and I'd love to see more of that in the future. And I think in this game, they're going to be given the run again. Keane Boland looked fantastic. Donald Burke looked fantastic. And I think they're going to strut their stuff again in Parnell Park, with Dublin getting the win. That is what I'm going with. But Antrim, again, a serious banana skin that Dublin should not take lightly. That is my full preview of round 2 of action in the Allianz Hurling League 2023, guys, here on Play on GAA. 6 fantastic games to look forward to. Do let me know who think is going to win these games in the comments below. And until the next one, guys, here on Play on GAA, take care.